imagine it's a little bit bigger than this. Okay, I don't want to bring the whole big one. So this is a backpack. What do we put in backpacks? Food, stuff. What kind of stuff? Books and crayons. Auntie Lachey, thank you. We put all kinds of things in here, right? And if it's empty, does it weigh much? No. If we put lots of stuff in here, it's heavy. It becomes heavy. Now, I have, let's pretend that these are called mistakes. What's this called? It's mistakes. Right. These are called mistakes. Now, who wants to give me examples of mistakes that we make? Yes. When we drop something by mistake, yes. When we do maths and we get the answer wrong, okay? Sure. Okay. When you have PE on the day, you accidentally forget something. You pack the wrong uniform. Yeah. Okay. Accidentally. So we have mistakes sometimes, right? And sometimes they're not really mistakes, they're also disobedience, right? And what are those kind of things? How can we be disobedient at times? Yeah. Your mom said don't take the cookies and you take the cookies. Your mom says you should clean your room and you don't clean your room. Yes. What else? Okay, so as you can pass the mic around and say all bad things, and as you're passing it out, I'm going to put these blocks called mistakes into the bag. Okay? So we've got not listening to your mom, right? What else? What else do we have? You didn't listen to your dad when he said do your homework. Okay, we've got lying. About lying, right? Is that wrong? Yes. What else is wrong? Yes? Telling jokes that are wrong, that are not appropriate. Yeah? What else? Saying bad words. Saying bad words. What else? One last one. Yes? Give the mic to the person. Doing something wrong. Doing something wrong. Yes. That's right. Okay. All right. Stealing. Yeah. Bullying. Yeah. What else? Being unkind to our friends, right? So now this bag is very, very heavy. Right? It's very, very heavy. So now this bag is very heavy. So guys, so mistakes, what can we do to get rid of our mistakes? Yeah? Pray to God and ask Him, can you please forgive me for my mistakes? Yes. Something really easy, something that we can do that is really simple is say, I'm sorry. And you can say, Jesus, and then you begin to unpack your bag, right? Jesus, I'm sorry for stealing. Jesus, I'm sorry for lying. I'm sorry for being unkind. I'm sorry for, and then your bag just gets lighter. And guess what, boys and girls? You feel better, right? Don't you feel better? When you unpack everything and you just say, Jesus, I'm so sorry. And guess what? Jesus not only forgives you, what else does he do? He erases it. So he doesn't remember anything that you did that was a mistake. So boys and girls, remember that there is nothing too big for God to forgive when you say, I am sorry. Okay? Who'd like to pray first? Okay, Lualo and Sanek.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this wonderful day. We ask you, Lord, to say sorry when we do mistakes, and we ask you, Lord, to fill our hearts and minds with the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Let's pray. God, may you please protect us. May you please let us be kind when people don't have food. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, boys and girls. Uncle Teach has something for you, so stay around right there.
Thank you so much, Auntie Romaine, for that really good children's story. And as I was sitting listening to God, like, as adults, we too need to be reminded that God not only forgives our sins, but He raises us. How lucky are we? As human beings, we forgive, but we don't forget. Right, Uncle Alex? Oh, yeah. You forgot already? Alright, I'm glad. But yes, for behind the scenes this morning, 2018 has been an eventful year for all of us. So much has happened, so much has changed. From my side, I just have to thank the Lord for blessing me. The beginning of the year was a bit of an uncomfortable period in my life. I was away for 3 months, for those who don't know. Down in Cape Town doing basic training. That's what the police call it, basic training. They don't tell you it's hell on earth or prison. So I think maybe they want you to experience a time of isolation and the lack of freedom as a police officer so that you know how it feels when you arrest someone and you put them in incarceration. So you have empathy to the prisoners, right? So that was my experience, and I just thank God that it wasn't only a experience I had to go through for work, but it was a life-changing experience. When I came back, I told everybody that who asked me, who did ask how it went. I'm like, something of this nature, going to basic training or doing conscription, compulsory conscription for the army, is something that once you go through once in your life. Teaches you discipline, teaches you that life isn't about all the luxuries and the frills on the side, that you can actually get by with just the basics. Right? And that's what God wants us to understand, that yes, all these other things are important. Yes, they make life easier. But at the end of the day, all we need is God, our good heart, and our life can be simple and good. So with that, I want to open up the floor for testimonies, Thanksgiving testimonies, because we've had a rough year. We had lots of knocks and challenges and just, the ugliest of the ugly. And it's good to mention these things, it's good to pray about them, but I would like us to end the year off, for Metro, to end the year off on a note of praise, thanking God for the gift of life, the gift of employment, the gift of shelter, the gift of family who care about you. So this morning I'd like to ask the congregation, if you have a testimony, a thanksgiving to God, I'd love you to share with us. So we can all praise and share your experience. Alright, so I'm going to start on, I saw Natissa's hand, so I'm going to start with Natissa, and then jump to Uncle Leroy, I see you at the back, but I'll go around if there are some more.
Happy Sabbath, everyone. Please allow me to share while sitting. I'm very nervous. So this year has really been It's a tough one for me. But I thank God that He has been with me. So last week we learned from Dr. Chabalala that we have caregivers. And I really want to thank God, especially for my caregivers. So I got discharged on the 11th of June, and my cousins took me in from that time because I wasn't working. So I stayed with them until now. So this weekend actually for me is a hard weekend because I'm leaving, I'm moving out, and it's hard. I don't know how it's gonna be. When I come Wednesday, I must talk. And I thank God. I thank God because they loved me. They didn't judge me. They took me in. They allowed me to take my medication. And they were so supportive. I'm so grateful. The second thing I thank God for is my mom, who's been there and is here with me to help me live. I thank God. Secondly, on Tuesday, the 3rd, was going to be our 1 year anniversary. I got culturally married last year on the 3rd of December. It didn't work out. I thank God that I'm still standing. Thank God I didn't lose my mind. It hurts, it's painful, but I have good moments. I love people that love me, that show me that they care. And I thank God.
I've got so much to say. I'm not quite sure where to start, but this year is a year of celebration. I want to thank God for Metro Mission Church, um, for the lives and the examples of the people and the family that I'm blessed and honored to share with. Your experiences touch my heart, touch my life. It helps me. It's still helping me to grow. It's helping me to understand. For the bravery that you show. Um, I thank God for protecting my family. I had the privilege of spending a milestone birthday with my elder brother. This year, God has blessed us that I was able to do that. And to be honest, he also suffers from severe depression as well. His eldest son, my eldest nephew, too, in a very bad way. But God has been amazing and strong in the sense that they're still alive, they're still fighting, and even though they don't necessarily have a relationship with God, and in some cases might not even believe, there's still that seed of faith in them that allows them to push. The last thing that I want to thank God for is for the protection and the blessing that is poured out this year on our family, allowing us to share that unmerited favor that is poured on us with those around us. Our daughter is graduating this year. I can't believe it. 3 years, and to be honest with you guys, we have no idea how that happened. She's been in Cape Town for 3 years. She's been in private rest for 3 years, and God has been with her and with us every single moment of that so that we can exit the 3 years without any debt. Um, in between is blessed as well. I can't even just, but for those of us who are struggling, for those of us who are sitting, it doesn't mean that we don't have struggles as we standing here for blessing our marriage, our family, our protection. Even though it feels like God is not there, know that He is there. Know that He has already made a way. It's just for us to trust and have faith and celebrate that victory even though you can't see it. Yeah, that's it.
Amen, church? I think earlier this year I did share that my father had cancer, stage 4 cancer. And I went through a journey of, trying to figure out things and what it means. And because I've never had anyone in my family who's gotten sick, like really sick. Immediate family had both my parents alive, and it kind of was a bit scary thinking that, cancer, death, and all those things. But what was amazing for me was that God used that opportunity for me to understand when He says that I've given you every herb as medicine. Guys, God heals us even through our food. And I'm very excited that the church is really thinking around the issue of naturopathy and all that, because I'd like to testify that my father's PSA levels have really gone down from his prostate cancer. I have also been struggling with depression, also used herbs to manage it. For those who are struggling with depression, there's Vervain and there's Valerian. You can get them at discount. Amazing herbs that God has given us. So I just want to thank God and say, God, I just felt the alignment in the fact that even the church itself is thinking about bigger vision, talking and reflecting through the issue of herbs and naturopathy. And I just want to thank God that it took my father's condition to bring me to this place. And my father is also giving his life to Jesus.
Amen.
Greet the church and one from the Lord is ready to express. Um, I've had the worst week of work. Yesterday I ended up in hospital because I lost my footing and it collapsed. Had terrible chest pains. My whole face was going numb. And they ran all these tests and tests and tests and tests. And they found that my heart was beating properly, but I had swelling on my breathing muscles, what that is, from stress and strain. And I just thank God that I didn't have my heart attack or stroke yesterday, because this week has been, it has taken everything from me. And I just want to thank God. I prayed this week that my God gave me a sacrifice should stay or not. Because I if I walk out, I don't have a job, I don't have anything. And then yesterday happened. I just said, I'm walking out. I can't do it anymore. It's just too hard for me to deal with every single day, to deal with when people shoot me and the negativity. So thank you. I'm going to take 2 minutes and Lynn. Morning church. Radiant. This year's been challenging year, but I want to say thank you to God. Beginning of August, when we started with our 90-day challenge, the only thing on my mind was, Lord, I'm challenging you with my marriage, being sons with a divorce, and I had just put my family and my marriage up as a challenge. And I've seen how God is intervening for me, how He has changed things, how He has, even to the fact, what we've been through, that my children, even both of them, receive honors in school. And I can see how God has just come through. And literally the last day of their challenge, where God showed me that He's still God, and that marriage is instituted by Him, and no man can put it asunder. When you ask God, put your whole heart that God is God. He's with us. And I'd like to encourage each and every one that we hold on and not give up. And I'd like to say thank you for Metro Church, for everybody who's been there for me, praying with me, encouraging me. I just want to give God all the praise and all the glory for everything He's done for me. There's no words I can express at this time. My gratitude back to God. Amen. There's no other hand? Yes, sorry.
I would just like to thank God also for the way He has led Metro through this year, for the life groups. We were on Wednesday night having a clarity session, and it was just testaments. And it was just amazing to listen to how God has delivered. In moments when it seemed utterly impossible, He delivered because God is a God of deliverance. I thank God for Fundamental, the men's ministry, and how they have been used to make an impact in so many men's lives. I thank God for the different life groups throughout. I thank God for the leadership of Metro in the way that they have facilitated their work to a high level of excellence. And so even though there have been many mountains that we have had to climb and many valleys that we have descended to, we have always seen God as the one that has led us through. I thank you. I thank God for all that He has done. Amen.
Could I ask those who can? Oh, apologies. Thank you for the last one. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm just so embarrassed to stand, but I lost my mother in 2017, and at that moment I thought, this is it, right? Because my father passed on in 2012, and his death became surreal. Like for her, when I realized I don't have anyone. And the whole year was just, it was, it was, I don't even know how to describe it. It was pain. I would cry all the time. I could hardly do anything. I was just drifting. And then at the end of it all, I went into panic. And there are things in my life that I never dreamed or prayed for, but I know my mother wished that for me. She wanted me to always be happy, to find joy in my own life and not, always be trying to do good at work and do good by, myself and other people in my family. And I thank Him for bringing me here today. I mean, it's my first time, but I've never even said this at my own church. And it feels like home. So I just, so it was difficult losing her, but the year ended with me finding love. And like even in everything that love is the basis of everything. I mean, it just shapes our lives completely. And I'm so grateful to that. And I'm grateful that He brought me here today. I know it's not a testimony, but I am so grateful. Being brought here, and I'm grateful that I'm here. And thank you, everyone. This does feel like home.
Right. So thank you. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate that. I'm going to ask those who can kneel to please kneel with me as we pray. Lord, you heard the testimonies, you heard the thanksgiving of the children. Lord, there were many who spoke and also many who didn't speak, but they too have testimonies of thanksgiving and gratitude that they want to share with you. We thank you for the gift of health, the gift of healing, and for the gift of strength, Lord. You heard the testimonies with regards to not losing oneself, healing from stage 4 cancer, just protection within the family. Lord, I thank you for just being God. Yes, as human beings, we do not understand sometimes why we suffer, why we go through things, why we lose our parents, why we lose our loved ones, Lord. And yet you are always there. You are always constant in our lives. And sometimes, Lord, you take these opportunities to show us, to realign us with you, that we do not get caught up in our lives, get caught up in the world, and we think that we are doing everything by our own strength, but then we are then reminded that there's a God in heaven who says, cast all your burdens on me, and I'll take care of them for you. So Lord, we just want to thank you. Thank you for blessing marriages. Thank you for blessing families and blessing kids. This has been an interesting year, a hectic year for some, some most, a year of learning. And Lord, at Metro, we just so grateful that we could hear this testimony this morning from this young lady. It's her first time, Lord, and that is the experience we're hoping that visitors, when they come to Metro, they feel at home. So thank you, Lord, for blessing this church, blessing the leadership, placing a vision. May we always remember that we're not doing this to our own glory, but to your glory. May we always give you the honor and the praise. And may we continue to be a welcoming, homely, friendly, church lovers experience. That people can go back or come again and say, this is my home. This is where I want to be. So thank you, Lord, for all you've done with us, for us this year. Bless us as we enter into December. May it not be a hectic month of wrapping up, but may it be a month of just reflecting and praising you. It is in your humble name. Amen.
Good morning, church. For our legal spotlight, so today some of the youth and friends of the youth joined us, both young and old, joined us as we participated in what we call random acts of kindness. So every year around this time of the year, the church kindly purchases a couple of goods, and this time we had fun stuff like chocolates and chips and juice and gum and gum. And we went over to the Heart Lane station to just hand over these gifts to everyone. And as you can see, part of the group was up there. The picture's already up. Shout out to the tech team for putting it up already. And and one or two things. So firstly, people are very suspicious in Johannesburg. You are giving me something for free. I didn't have to pay. You're smiling. You're saying hello. So it dawned on me, if people are freaking out about just handing over a sweet or a chocolate or juice, what about showing love and kindness every day? And it makes you wonder what people are going through every day if just handing over of that, people are sort of, what's going on. So as I ask my kind volunteers who are going to share the experience to come up, I'm just going to read a couple of verses. It's in 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 8 to 11. It says, above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. Offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others, as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. If anyone speaks, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God. If anyone serves, they should do so with the strength God provides, so that in all things God may be praised through Jesus Christ. To him be the glory and the power forever and ever. Amen. So we're going to start with Lesedi, and he's just going to share his experience quickly.
Happy Sabbath, church. Amen. So what I learned when I was doing the handing out was that not everyone might accept what you're offering. And what I learned was that, and I also remembered a few Sabbaths ago here at Metro, there was a pastor who said that there are times when we will face rejection, and I did so. I faced it myself. But relating to in life what people do, I also learned that not everyone is going to accept what you're giving, and I was ready to actually face it myself, but I'm now okay with it because it happens in life.
Good morning, church. Similar to the city, we did face rejection. And for me, it just highlighted the culture we're in. You know, it's very, we've lost the collective, communal way of being, you know. And I felt this act of kindness is really a way to change the tide, to really introduce and bring back kindness and love in the community. We also met one man. We gave him 2 chocolates, and he actually said he was so grateful, because he's got 2 sons, and he was going to be able to give that to his sons. So it's so meaningful because as we pay it forward, they can pay it forward. So it's just beautiful. We really enjoyed it.
Don't run or hide. It's only I give. Does anyone feel uncomfortable when I give comes up? That's metro. However, in many churches it is. And I want to do, I've got something, technology. I actually printed this out and Errol looked at me and my wife looked at me. And it talks to what does it mean to be a cheerful giver? We hear it often. God loves a cheerful giver. In 2 Corinthians 9, Paul reminds the church in Corinth. So Corinth was very rich. And he asked them to collect funds for the widows and the poor in Jerusalem. And he says, you have promised to collect money for the believers in Jerusalem. And then he says, whoever sows sparingly will reap sparingly. And whoever sows bountifully will reap bountifully. Each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion. For God loves a cheerful giver. So the word cheerful in Greek is translated hilaris. Okay, my Greek is a bit iffy. Which pretty much means the same thing, but it also means joyous. But there's a sense of readiness to the word as well. And you can see where I'm going with that. With today's economy, it can be very hard to be a cheerful giver, even if you're very faithful. So, talking both cheerfully, joyfully, and readily. There are some things that we can do, however, and some things to think about when we give it. Remember where your money comes from. In Romans 8:32, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. That's James 1:17. Every blessing we have, including money, is given to us by God. And then remember what Jesus has done for us. He who did not spare his own son, but gave him for us all, how will he not also with him graciously give all things? And the all things in here doesn't always mean monetary things. Because what he's doing is he's referring to the victory in this life as well as the salvation in the next. And also remember what the money is used for. I'm not sure how many here know this, but our tithes that we give are used to save souls. Because there are people like pastors that go out and do the work that we can't because we're at work. So that's very important to also realize what our money is used for. And secondly, our offering. If we look at this building at Metro, there are many expenses that we incur as well. So your monetary offering towards the church and running of the church help us to be here, to be able to do the things we do. This week alone, we had worth fighting for. I was there, and I was at the first session last year when we had a few families within the church. On Thursday, 90% of the folk that were there, and we were probably 30, 40 folk, were not from this church. Okay? People that have heard from friends that attended. So, again, for Teach and Taffy, it was fantastic. So when we give, and I'm going to ask the deacons now to collect the offering, is give with a cheerful heart. Make a decision. Don't sit in the pews and then decide, okay, what's in my pocket? But make a conscious effort to give to the Lord, because God blesses. Doesn't necessarily mean money. You are sitting here, which means you're in good health. Those are blessings, guys. So there are a few ways that you can give. We have our banking details on the screen. Those are used for tithes as well as offerings. And please, if you can just send your proof of payment to the treasurer so that she can make a note of it. Secondly, we have a POS machine at the back, which for all those guys that are into technology, can be used for your offerings only. And then behind the chairs, except for the front row, we have Zapper and SnapScan, all right, where you can also give your offerings via that method. So if I can ask the praise and worship team, please lead us out.
I begin to say, Lord, I thank you. Even in the midst of pain, Lord, I thank you. Reflecting on the goodness of God, how He provides for me. I don't deserve it, but He keeps on blessing me. I want to say thank you. His love for me was shown on the cross when He died for my sin. Favor and mercy is the song that's in my heart. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. So I'm singing, Jesus, I don't deserve your love. You gave me more than you really should have. I don't deserve it, but you keep on blessing me. I want to say thanks to Jesus. Jesus, I don't deserve your love. You gave me more than you really should have. I don't deserve it, but you keep on blessing me. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you, Jesus. Jesus, I don't deserve your love. You gave me more than you really should have. I don't deserve it, but you keep on blessing me. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank
If we can bow our heads, close our eyes. Gracious Heavenly Father, dear Lord, giving is heart thing. Lord, make our hearts right. Lord, that in our giving, that we can touch someone else's life. Let us not worry about what we can get in return, Lord, but that we can spread the gospel throughout this world so that you can come back to fetch us. Heavenly Father, we pray for all the money that was given this morning. Lord, we pray for its intended purpose. Lord, that you may bless it and that it may touch lives. Heavenly Father, continue to just abide with us now. In Jesus' name, amen.
Happy Sabbath, church. Amen. Happy Sabbath, band. Please go with me. Ending my song so soon. Are we ready to sing, church? Amen. So a couple of years ago, I think it was, I launched a CD here, and one of the songs, and I'm actually thinking about it now, it was our first song, which is No Not One. And this song should never have been written in English, it's not, but we'll do it in English. You're in Zulu and you're so beautiful. All right. Asinasi Shoko. All right. All right. Uyazaz. Yeah. So I wrote this song, not this song, but another song. And one of the lines of the song was that many people could have come. Right? Many people could have come and died for us. But they could have come and gotten crucified. But they're just like us. They're just sinners like us. So their death doesn't count. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. It doesn't count. So whenever we think of sacrifice and we think we can sacrifice, that we're prepared to die for someone else, it's not the same. And that's what this song is about. He's not a friend like the lowly Jesus. Right. He could leave heaven guiltless, sinless. And that qualifies him to die for us. Unlike us sinners. And this is all, as I'm speaking, was the cue for the band to like giving us the entry. I'm running out of words. You know? Maybe we should stand, right? Let's go. Let's go. There's not a friend like the lonely Jesus. Jesus. testimonies has been tough. For many of us, we know this. Some of us smile when we. It's tough. It's tough. But there's no name like his, right? Let's hear the song. Redeemed, how I love to proclaim it. We need some bye-bye when we sing this song, you know? You know what I mean, right? No bye-bye. Bye-bye. That kind of stuff. Are you ready? Let's sing it. How I love to proclaim it. Redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. Breathing through His infinite mercy, His child and forever.
clap. That song is calling for a clap. Like not from no. Like you're supposed to I almost think most Adventists are accountants. There are a lot of internal controls. But even when I said that, I'm watching someone like, account! It's alright to get used to it. This is one of my favorite melodies. And we have to dance.
Church. Did we have church? Yeah. Church. I'm distressed. This is our last Sabbath here. I'm gonna go away for the Christmas break, and I just don't know what I'm gonna do when I go to church. Have mercy, I'm gonna have to watch Metro via live stream. Somebody say amen. Amen. Well, we have had the privilege of great worship, and we are now going to participate in worship through the hearing of the word. and it gives me great pleasure to introduce our speaker, who I first met in 1989 when he passed by a very vibrant church that Paulette and I belong to, Handsworth Seventh-day Adventist Church in Birmingham, England. And this preacher passed by. I didn't realize at the time when he passed by that he had relatives in the church. So by virtue of having relatives at Handsworth Church, he kept coming over and over again. And so when I saw him in Africa now back in 96, I think it was, that's where we reconnected, and then he was off to Florida, and they don't go places, and then he's back here in South Africa. Somebody say amen. He is Pastor Lester Parkinson, a third generation Seventh-day Adventist. He is a product of Christian education and attended the Black Mecca of Preachers, Oakwood University. You know that's the Black Mecca of preaching, you know what I'm saying? And he did his concentrations in English and theology, additional preparation for ministry at Andrews University, where he has a master's in divinity degree. And he has preached all over. He's been an evangelist, he has been a lecturer, and he is the husband of one wife. You can say amen. His wife, I believe, and he's in the audience. Pam, where is Pam? I can't see that. Where Pam? Pam, just stand. Pam. You know, my eyes. There's Pam over there. Okay, well, wonderful. And the children, where are the children? Where are the sons and the daughters? Let me just see the sons and the daughters. Let's see the tribe. No, you gotta stand. You can't do this to us. You can't do this to us. Let's just stand. Some beautiful kids. Oh, praise God. Amen. So, Lester, just welcome. Welcome again. This is not the first time to the pulpit, but we just trust that as the Lord gives you this word in season, that as we come towards rapidly the end of the year, that we may be reminded that Jesus is our all in all. And so the next voice that you will hear will be that of Lester Parkinson after the praise team has given us the meditation.
Show me your face. Fill up the space. My world needs you right now. My world needs you right now. I can't escape being afraid. Fill me with you right now. My world needs you right now. Powerful down. Bring with it a sound that points us to you right now. Erase substitutes right now. Fix what I see, and God, please fix me. My world needs you right now. Let us see you right now. Show me your face. Fill up the space.
Shabbat Shalom. In other words, happy Sabbath. Peaceful Sabbath. Is everybody happy today? I'm delighted to be here. I must confess to you that I've been in Johannesburg from August 27 until now, and I have been doing very well, including my intermittent visits to Metro Mission. And when Errol asked me to choose a date, and the myriad dates he gave me, I selected this one was agreed upon. And I must confess that I have, since I've been here, I haven't studied as hard in preparation for a message as I have. Because, for two reasons. One, I was requested also to preach by another group today at this time. The Malawians are meeting someplace, understanding almost 1,000 of them. And I said, I can't. I have to be at Metro Mission. All right. And then I said, okay, I'll come back in the afternoon. So I'll come in the afternoon. So I prepared both messages. And I worked hard at it. And I was feeling good until last night. I had chills, sore throat, the full spectrum of flu last evening, nothing yesterday. And it tells me that God has something special. Wow. And when I saw my niece here, Lachey, I know Lachey since she was 4. Yes, her father's my best friend. And I stayed in her home in Cape Town. Then she came up with the testimony. And the testimonies. I got a little spiritual injection. And then the young man, the city, he turned me on with his testimony. And then Alex and his group. Yeah. You know something about your congregation here? A lot of praise teams perform, but you minister. I love it, you minister, and it wants to keep me coming back. So I'm asking you to pray for me. I'm not at my best, but you know, God can use our weakness and bless us through our weakness. Do you believe that? Yes. And I've made a certain declaration. By the way, there are two things I like about this congregation. Would you like to know what it is? That there's some really good-looking people here. And those who are not good-looking are looking good. Amen. Choose your group. Yes. Amen. And while the Nemhard was introducing me, as he said, you know, I met Aaron and Paulette back in Birmingham, England, 1989, and we connected when he was preaching somewhere in Johannesburg in 96, you said? That dates us, huh? Yes, it was good. And then they did something for me this week. I accused them of causing me to overeat. Because they invited us to dinner. And they turned it on. Amen. I thank Aaron and Paulette for the kindness. But when he was introducing me, I made a certain declaration. Would you like to know what it is? Now, when I get to heaven's gate, and if I have any difficulty in getting in, I look around for Aaron Nemhard. Because after all those nice things he said about me, I'm sure he can get me in. Of course, that's predicated on the assumption that he will be there. Of course he will. Of course he will. Of course he will. It's good to see my friend, Dr. Everett Clark. You know, we served together at the University of Southern Caribbean. Most recently, I left there in July 50. We're buddies, you know, because we share Africa. We share Africa together. Yes. Our love for Africa. Dr. and Mrs. Clark, good to see you. Over that flame.
We're going to sing "Oh for That Flame," a special request from the pastor this morning. I know it's not easy to sing the song seated, so I don't know why you're waiting.
Father in heaven, may the sacred words of this hymn be the sentiment and the longing of every heart. In Jesus' name, amen. Remember, Lord, the ancient days, angels and Thank you, that was magical. There's a certain lady here. I saw her moving. That's my mother-in-law. She's sitting way over there. Yes. Doing the Zoom. Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. I've given title to what I hope consider for the next little while. What's love got to do with it? It was Tina Turner. You know Tina Turner? Come on, tell the truth and stay to church. You all know Tina Turner. A woman in her 80s, but she has legs like 40s. I'm not blind. Tina Turner penned these words. You must understand, though the touch of your hand makes my pulse react, that is only the thrill of boy meeting girl. Opposites attract. It's physical, only logical. You must try to ignore that it means more than that. Ooh, what's love? Got to do with it, got to do with it. What's love but a second-hand emotion? Somebody knows it. What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Don't run ahead of me now. The scriptural basis for my message today comes out of the Old Testament tradition of the book that bears its name, Hosea, chapter 2. Here's what it says. The beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord said to Hosea, go, take unto thee a wife of whoredoms, and children of whoredoms, for the land hath committed great whoredom, departing from the Lord. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived and bare him a son. And the Lord said unto him, call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel. And it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. And Gomer conceived again, and bare a daughter. And God said unto Hosea, call her name Loruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and will save them by their Lord, their God, and will not save them by bow or by sword or by battle or by horses nor horsemen. Now when she had weaned the Loruhamah, she conceived and bore a son. Then said God, call his name Loami, for ye are not my people, and will not be your God. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured or numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, you are sons of the living God. My brothers and my sisters of Metro Mission, I will impart to you today what in the homiletical tradition of especially black preaching, this is a narrative sermon. An artist sermon is normally spoken in the first person. Are you ready?
Yeah. Amen.
My name is Hosea. My profession is prophet of the Lord Jehovah. My prophetic ministry took place in the northern kingdom of Israel between 750 and 725 BC. I've been summoned here by some of your contemporaries to share with you brief excerpts of my biography. One day, I was walking back home from one of my prophetic crusades. As I descended the heights of Mount Tabor, I was apprehended by a strange and invisible presence. I was both terrified and fascinated at once. Although rare, this experience was not new to me. Having had this experience before, I knew I was in the presence of eternal God. His voice came to me as it was riding the bosom of the wind. And God said to me, Hosea, I must speak to you concerning the infidelity of my people. You remember, Hosea, our contractual agreement that Israel would be my people and I would be their God. But now, Hosea, because of her apostasy, because of her idolatry and her immorality, her goodness is as the morning dew. It has faded away. She's allowed strange gods to encroach upon her private domain. She has ruptured our relationship. She has fractured our friendship. And now, Hosea, I must talk to you about how Israel has gone whoring, prostituting after other gods. I didn't say much that day. What does one do? Metro Mission, when God is talking. And as I listened to the tenor, the tone of his booming voice, it was like the voice of a man who had known excruciating pain. Pain known only to those who have had their love rejected. I don't know whether it was in body or out of body, but God allowed me to slip into that kind of altered state of consciousness. He carried me in a voyage, allowed me to see the history of Israel and how she had vacillated time after time in her commitment to God. And beloved, God said to me, Hosea, I know that you think because of her behavior that I will destroy Judah. But I will save Judah, not by bow, not by sword, not by battle, nor by horsemen, but I will save her by the power of my love. I said to God that day at the foot of Mount Tabor, God, I'm sure that the people of Judah will be happy to get that news. But what do I do? What do I have to do, God, with all of this? And God says, Jose, I'm glad you asked. Because I want you to be my go-between, intermediary. I want you to be my living allegory. I want you to be my visible dramatization. Because Israel has gone off and committed adultery. And I want you to tell her, Israel, that I don't want a divorce. I want reconciliation. Is somebody hearing me today? Well, I want you to tell Israel that I still love her. And he said, I want you to be the person who will intercede on my behalf. And he then said, Hosea, before you go, I need to tell you that you are not quite ready to represent me. I listened in on your last crusade. You are knowledgeable. You are mighty in quoting scripture. You sing with an amazing degree of harmony and melody. You are persuasive. But there was something missing. And as I listened, Hosea, it was obvious to me that you did not comprehend my cosmopolitan and inclusive concept of salvation. You're limited. You're yet too narrow, too parochial, too local, too ethnocentric in your understanding. Therefore, in order to get you ready to represent me, I am going to send you through the crucible of domestic difficulty. Hosea, I want you to get married. Married? I said, that's not so bad. That's not so bad, especially when you have the omnicompetent God selecting your bride. That's not so bad. And then I said to God, it's funny that you brought that up because just the other day I was saying to myself, it's time, brother prophet, for you to get married.
All right.
I'm just building it up. Are you with me? Yeah. I was saying to myself that I need to take unto myself a wife. Just the other day. And God, I haven't said anything yet to her father about Lobola. But I have my eye on this certain young lady. And oh, I know that you will approve of her because she comes from a strong Orthodox Jewish background. She obviously loves you. She has come to all my evangelistic campaigns. She helps me to pass out 10 commandment tracts. She sings in the praise team. I know that you will love her. Yes, yes, yes. I'll ask her, God, to be my bride. And then the Lord said to me, Hosea, I know the girl you have in mind. And you are right. She will make somebody a good wife. But Hosea, she's not the girl that I've chosen to be your bride. The girl I have chosen, can I make this real? Yeah. Hangs out in Hillborough. Some of you been there? She's a pagan prostitute. Need I tell you how I felt? Metro Mission. Do I have to tell you the conflict between my desire to please Jehovah God and my rejection of this outlandish and hideous idea? God spoke in an unmistakably lucid language. He clearly said, I want you, Hosea, to marry her. And after I thought about it for a while, I said, God, no. I will not reject my religion. I will not forsake my traditions and my heritage. I will not do anything that cuts against the grain of my cultural background. Although I know since you're involved, I don't have to pay Lobola. I will not commit this infamous act against the people of Judah. I will not bring this scandal on the prophetic calling of my ministry. No, Lord, 100 times no. I'd rather die in dignity that live in this grace. And as I stood, church, as I stood there that day at the foot of Mount Tabor, having told God an unequivocal no, I got ready to die. I stood up and got ready to die, to accept death like a man. And so I closed my eyes and stood there erect. Come on, death, get over it. Let's get over with it. But as I stood there for almost half of an hour, and death had not come, I opened my one eye to see death coming, charging on his pale horse. And then I opened the other eye, and death was nowhere in sight. And so as I got ready to ease away from that mountain, God said, Hosea, the girl's name is Goma. I said, Go? Goma? Who would want to marry someone with a name like Goma? Goma, do you mean that same one who works the midnight shift in Hillbrow? I said, God, what is this all about? Didn't I hear you say that everything that we do here on earth is to be to your glory? I thought I had him. And then I said, yes, to whose glory is this? What glory will you get of a prophet marrying a prostitute? What glory will you get out of piety mixed with promiscuity? What glory will you get when there's a coming together of wretchedness and righteousness? What glory will you get when there's intercourse between the secular and the sacred? What glory will you get when you have the good and the bad coming together? Lord, what glory will you get? And beloved, it was right there, Metro Mission, that God taught me an invaluable lesson. And God says, Hosea, do you remember when I called you to be a prophet? Yes, sir. And I told you then that we were entering into a partnership. Somebody didn't hear me. Woo. You echo what somebody said. You're entering into what, everybody? Partnership. But I also told you that I am the senior partner. And as a senior partner, I reserve the right to make some decisions without your approval. If you can't say amen, say ouch. Hosea, I don't always give you a pre-flight itinerary for where I'm going. I simply tell you that this is what I'm doing. And for you, it becomes a matter of faith. Not faith in how much sense I make. Not faith in how pragmatic I am. But for you, it's a matter of faith in me. Because I want to know, can you trust my heart? No. And then God said, I will not subject divine wisdom to the short-sighted, myopic appraisal of human discretion. No! You make up your mind. You make your choice, and then we'll talk. And I said, all right, Lord, I really don't like it, but I'll do it. And so I found myself in the path of obedience. Turn to your neighbor and say, path of obedience. Everybody say it. I'm going somewhere. And then, it was then that God began to shed light on my understanding. And so I married Goma, and I have pleasant memories of my wife. I remember how that girl tried. I remember when we first got married, she came home and said, I am a prophet's wife now. That's what she said. The girl tried. She said, I've got to change the time that I go down to the village well where the gossipers and the busybodies hang out. I'm a prophet wife now. No more mini skirts. No more outlandish dresses. She's got a new wardrobe, and yes, she says, I am a prophet wife now. She got herself a new hairdo. She took a little of that rouge makeup off her face. She was a prophet's wife now. Somebody's not hearing me today. But you know, beloved, she was caught between an awful pull and a terrible push. There was underneath her skin, the pull of the old world. And she was caught in the pull and the push of the wiles of her old world. She was hemmed in by habits and cringing because of customs and cultural traditions. Oh, sometimes I wonder how much I had to do with my self-righteousness, with her failure. And I remember that day when I went up to the temple and I called her out and she came out and I looked at her and said, listen, God told me to marry you. But girl, you got to change your ways. And I remember clearly, Metro Mission, I remember clearly that I insisted that she make a commitment to me. Oh, help me, Holy Ghost, help me. But I did not help her to make a commitment to God. And when times got hard, her commitment to me was not strong enough. And there were times when little Jezreel and Loruhama and Noami were running around the yard unwashed and unfed. And I look up to heaven and said, God, there she goes again. But that was not all. Every time she went down the road, there were those old Adventist synagogue folks. They were so self-righteous. They forgot where God had brought them from. They forgot how much God had forgiven them. And as soon as they saw my wife in the public, some of those same old self-righteous folks would cry out, there goes again that noble. You know what they would call her? And I remember, church, when it first started happening. You know, it never happens all at once whenever we leave or walk away from God. Somebody say amen. Amen. It never happens at once. It happens bit by bit by bit. It happens little by little. That's how it happened with my wife. And the first night she stayed out all night. And oh, we had a big fight when she got home that night. The second time she left, she stayed away for 3 days. And the arguing and the fighting got worse. And the last time she left, she just did not come back. It had been more than a year. And I was taking care of her 3 children, Jezreel and Loruhama and Loami. And one day I decided to go back to Mount Tabor. And I wanted to tell God a piece of my mind of what His choice had done to me. And I made my way up to Mount Tabor. I wanted to tell God what His choice had done to me. And as I made up my way, and when I got there, I discovered that God was already there waiting for me. And I said, God, you see, I wanted to get my name first. I said, God, and God says, you shut up, Hosea, and sit down. And God asked me, where is Gomer? Where is Gomer? I said, where's Gomer? You're God. You ought to know where she is. I don't know where she is. I have not seen Gomer in months. And God says, how do you feel about her? How do I feel about Gomer? Don't you know you're God? Don't you know what she did? Yes, Hosea. I know what she did. I've been ostracized, God. I've been criticized. I've been laughed at. Yes, Hosea, I know all about that. But I'm asking you, how do you feel about Gomer? Hosea, do you love her? God, what you asking me? What's love got to do with it? Got to do with it. Is anybody here listening today? How do I feel about her? Well, since you know my heart, I might as well tell you the truth. Although it hurts, I still love the woman. But love is not enough. What's love got to do with it? And God says, Hosea, that's good. It's a beginning. For if you can love her in spite of what she has done to you, you're now ready to represent me. I want you to get off this mountain. Go and tell Judah that I say I don't want a divorce. Tell them that I want to be reconciled. Tell them that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and seek my face, they will hear from heaven, and I will heal their land. Tell them, tell them, tell them to stop playing church. Hello, church. Can I get your attention? Do you know what playing church is? You know, when I was a kid growing up, Errol, Paulette, we used to play mommy and daddy. Anybody play mommy and daddy? We used to play hospital, doctor and nurse. Huh? We used to play teacher and school. Y'all don't know about that? Y'all in a different age. We even used to play church. So we used to play church. And I remember one particular Sunday, me and our buddies got together and we got tired of doing a lot of other things, stealing fruits and all that stuff, and we decided to play church. And we put up a little box, and my Pentecostal friend was the preacher. And then they brought a big galvanized pan that Mrs. Cadogan had, and we put water in it, and so you can have a baptism. And they asked us Homo sapiens here to do the rites of baptism. We were doing what? Playing. Talk to me, church. You were playing church. We baptized dogs, parrots, lizards. Hey, a duck. The duck loved it. Chicken, playing church. And then I decided to baptize a tomcat. And I put the tomcat in the cradle of my arm. And I raised my hand and said, "Dear Brother Tomcat, by the confession of your faith." And before I could finish, the tomcat would not cooperate. I tried my best. Every time I tried, he would not cooperate. And one of my buddies who was a Pentecostal says, "Let's sprinkle him and send him to hell." Playing church. And I believe as we play church sometimes, in our innocence, that God understood our hearts and what we were trying to do. God told me to get off this mountain and stop playing church. And you should have seen me getting off that mountain. I would run a while, fall and roll a while. I'd roll and then I'll get up a while. I was getting off that mountain. And by the time I hit the bottom, God said to me, "Hosea, one more thing." "What now, Lord? What now?" "Hosea, I wanted you to marry her because I wanted to dramatize that God loves the unlovable. That God loves them in spite of their unloveliness and their unfaithfulness. And I'm always ready ready for their return, God says. But I want to teach you, Hosea, something else. Not only did I have to deal with their not being lovable and their being unfaithful, I had to deal with an unforgiving prophet. Me? Unforgiving? He said, yes, I want to teach the forgiven how to forgive. That's what he said. I want to teach the forgiven how to forgive. You see, we Jews, we believed in an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. You hit me, I hit you back. You knock off my teeth, I rearrange your face. You kick my cat, I kick your dog. You see, I had a kind of paradoxical love-hate relationship with Goma. I loved her, but I wanted to get even with her. Is somebody hearing me today? I wanted to get even from the top of her head to the soles of her feet. I wanted to hate her with that perfect hatred. And God said, Hosea, because you have been forgiven, you must forgive. You know, church, there's so many of us who are in church who have been forgiven by God. But some of us have found it so hard forgiving those who have wronged us. I think I'm preaching in the wrong place. Your Bible says that if you say you love God, whom you have never seen, and you hate your brother or your sister, whom you see every Sabbath. Hello, somebody. The Bible says you are a lie. You are not telling the truth. You know, I've been pastoring for a while. I've personally seen some members wake up in the morning and they reach into their bosom and they pull out, like my grandmother used to do when she hide her money there, pull out your offended feelings. And then you set off those offended feelings so they can get some sunshine because you don't want those offended feelings to die. Well, I could tell you more, but I gotta stop. Let me tell you the end of the story. That I was out in the cornfield, in the maize field. And you know how tall those maize stalks can be. I had been elbowing my way through those stalks, pulling out ears of maize and putting them in my sack. I was out there under the sweltering heat of the noonday sun, and I heard a sound. It was a sound that did not have a definite ring to it. And I stepped out on the road, Dr. Clark, and I saw all the way up to my tent the silhouette of a man crying out, Hosea. And I tied a knot on the top of my sack. I threw it over my shoulder and again began to elbow my way through those maize stalks. And when I got there, the man, you know, I'd seen him around Judah sometime before. And he said to me, Prophet, I don't know what you will do with this information that I want to share with you. But I think you want to know. Or you need to know. I just left the marketplace. Say marketplace, everybody. Marketplace. It took me a long time to recognize her. The years of sin had stripped her of her beauty. The years of sin had brought lines and creases to her face. The years of sin had caused her hair to be matted and uncombed. But I saw beneath all that ugliness, all that dirt, a resemblance of what she used to look like. I eased up a little closer, and I said, Goma? And she never said a word. She just lifted her eyes, and then she looked into my eyes, and I knew it was Goma. So, Brother Prophet, I don't know what you plan to do with this information, But I thought that you needed to know that she is right now at the marketplace, standing on the auction block, waiting to be sold as a common slave. And then I went into the house. Somebody hear me today? I went into my house and I went to praying ground and I said, Jehovah, what do I do now? And God said, I thought you said you loved her. I said, yes, but what's love got to do with it? I still love her. And then he said, well, Hosea, you got to go all the way with it. You've got to go all the way with that marriage. You got to be serious about forgiveness. And he said, God said to me, I want you to put on your prophetic regalia. I want you now to walk down the streets of Judah. As I began to make my way, church, as I began to make my way, I discovered that the man in the field didn't just tell me, he told everybody. Something like Adventist, isn't it? If you can't say amen, say ouch. And at every intersection, crowds had gathered. And when I passed one crowd, I heard them say, there Hosea goes again. He's on his way to shake his accusing finger in the face of his unfaithful wife. But I tell you, church, they didn't know what was in my heart. And another crowd said, there goes Hosea. He's on his way to have his last laugh. But they didn't know what was in my heart. And then I made my way to the auction block. And when I came around the corner, I heard the auctioneer saying, we have a woman here. Her name is Gomer. Her profession is prostitution. She is lewd. And she is loose as a goose. Is there anybody here willing to pay the price? And then I had to go through the indignity of hearing other men bid for my wife. And I heard one man say, 5 shekels. Another said, 10 shekels. And I thought I'd better get into the bidding war because I was standing way in the back. I didn't want anybody to recognize me. And I said, Mr. Auctioneer, 11 shekels. And the Lord said, bid, Hosea. Bid! Bid! Because one day I'm going to shed my blood on Calvary. One day I'm going to pay the price for your sins and the sins for everybody in Israel. Bid, Hosea. And another man said 12. And another man said 13, Alex. And I looked at what I had in my hand because I'd only brought 15 shekels. And by the way, this is a sidebar. How much was Jesus sold for by Judas? 30 pieces. That was the price of a male slave. 15 was the price of a female slave. Even back then, women and men were not equal. Hello, somebody. That's another sermon. I only bought 15 pieces. And then I shouted, Mr. Auctioneer, 15 shekels, a barley and a half. And I heard him say, sold to the highest bidder. Because they had my wife standing naked on the auction block. And since I said, what's love got to do with it? I took off my prophetic regalia and I wrapped it around my wife and we started back to the house. Yay! And when we got to the edge of the town, my wife fell prostrated to the ground. And I heard her say, Hosea, I'm sorry. I'll be your slave for the rest of my life. But I told her, no, honey, get up. I don't need a slave. What I need is a wife. And then we made our way back to the house. But I gotta hurry now. And church, I want to tell you that if you think my story is something, my story is just a drop in the bucket. My story is just to help us to understand another love story. And I've got to tell you before I sit down, because even this greater love story, for way back, before God made man, he got down on his knees and he rolled back a carpet of vegetation, formed the man out of the dust of the ground, breathed in his nostrils the breath of life, and I came out as a living soul. Way back when God made me in his own image. And when we sinned and we fell from essence into existence. And I heard justice say, men have sinned, what are we going to do about it? Oh, my brothers and sisters. And then Jesus said, wait a minute. Man has sinned, but let the wages of sin be death. But the gift of God be eternal life. I'll be that gift. And he said, you go down justice, sit on Calvary and wait for me, because I'll be there after a while. And justice got down to Calvary. But one day, justice got tired and stood up and got ready to slay the human race. But the prophet Ezekiel said, wait a minute, justice. I see somebody. He looks like a weed in the middle of a weed. Then Nebuchadnezzar looked into the furnace and he saw the fourth figure standing in that furnace with Shadrach, Meshach, and somebody said a bad Negro. And he said, it looks like the Son of God. And then Daniel said, he looks like a stone hewn out of the mountain. And then Amos said, he looks like a plumb line. But beloved, it was on a Friday. I said it was on a Friday. And the one they saw on that hill called Calvary, he was put on a cross. I'm talking about the love story. He was put on a cross and he died. Did he die? I said, did he die? He died until the sun went down. And when the moon veiled its face, he died, and the veil in the temple was torn in two. He stayed all day Friday, all day Saturday, all night Saturday night. But early, I said early Sunday morning, he got up with all power, all power in his hand. Metro Mission, I'm here to declare unto you that God loves you. I said God loves you. I said God loves you. Is anybody here today sinking in sin? Let me tell you, without any fear of successful contradiction, if you're sinking in sin, let me declare unto you that love lifted me. And love will lift you. And I'm so glad that God's love stretched from one end of time to another. Because when he died on Calvary, his blood ran back down through BC. And it kept running down through AD. And it went through the apostles. It went through the New Testament church. And it came down through Calvary. It came down through Augustine. It came down through my grandparents. And one Wednesday evening, when I was going to hang out with my buddies, probably to steal some avocados, his blood found me and saved me through his blood. And that's why I can sing although I can't. What can wash away my sin? Nothing. I said nothing. Nothing but the blood of Jesus. I gotta go. But I want to tell you before I leave, he loves you. I said he loves you. And he's coming soon for you and for me. and remember the greatest love story. Because love got everything to do with it. Love, I know for sure, it matters not how far down you've gone, God will stretch forward and reach out like Homer and bring you back. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. When nothing else could. Sing it, church. Love lifted me. Hallelujah. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. Sing it, church. When nothing else could help, love lifted me. I was singing deep inside. I was singing deep inside. Sing it, church. From the peaceful shore, very deeply stained within, sinking to rise no more. But the master of the sea heard my despairing cry. Oh yes! From the waters lifted me, now safe and right. Oh, love lifted me. Sing it, church! Love lifted me. Everybody stand, stand. When nothing else could help, love lifted me. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. When nothing else could help, love lifted me. Before we sing the next stanza, this and then I'm through. Before we sing the next stanza. You see, we've got to love everybody. Hello, somebody. I said we got to love everybody. If you want to see Jesus, you better love. I must love. You see, life is too tenuous, and the world is too wicked, and time is too short, and eternity is too long, and hell is too hot, and the devil is too mean, but God is too good for me not to love. For love lifted me. Last time, souls in danger. Oh, let's do this one. All my heart in my gift. All my heart to Him I give, ever to Him I'll cling. Oh yes, in His presence live, ever, ever His praises sing. Love so mighty, and Last stanza, this is my testimony. Souls in danger, look above. Souls in danger, look above. Jesus completely saved. Oh yes, He will lift you. He will lift you by His love. Out of the angry way. Out of the angry way. Now, so He's the master. He's the master of the sea. Here goes, here goes. Knows His will obey. He's your Savior. He's your Savior wants to be His Savior today. Lord, God set me. Even me. Nothing can be. We're nothing, nothing, nothing. There's nothing else could help. Nothing can be. Hallelujah. Nothing can be. Yes, love got everything to do with it. Nothing can be. Where nothing else could help. If that's your testimony today, can somebody put up their hand? That love, you know God's love reached down and touched you when you were in your guttermost, and He saved us to the uttermost. Wasn't feeling well, but I'm happy that God brought us through today, because I just stopped by to tell you that God loves you, and He's willing to die for you and to save you and to save me. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. When nothing else could help. Love lifted me. Hallelujah. Love lifted me. Love lifted me. Oh yes, He did. When nothing else could help. Love lifted me. Oh Heavenly Father, this is an old love story. It's not about prostitution, but it's all about God reaching down where we are and bringing us up and giving us a brand new name, a brand new experience. Oh Father, thank you for reminding us about how much you love us, that you have compelled us to love everybody else. It doesn't matter where someone else is from, whether the accent is different from yours or the ethnic group. We are obligated to love each other if we want to see Jesus. Lord, thank you for reminding us of the great story, that in spite of where we've been and what we've done, or what somebody think about us, you will come down to the building blocks of sin and you will buy us back with your love. Thank you. Somebody say amen. Amen. Somebody say hallelujah. Hallelujah. Somebody say thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Oh Father, thank you for stopping by here today and for reminding us of your unmatchless love. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you.
Amen. We just want to thank Hosea for coming around. Pastor Parkinson, thank you so much. A whole new way of looking at that story. We want to thank you guys, each and every person here, for making this Sabbath Metro Mission a place to worship. We want to wish you well. Have a wonderful Sabbath visit. Travel safe. We will be here at 9:15 next week. Also, for those that are traveling, Errol, for safe travels. And we will see you in the new year. For everyone else, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Pastor, if you would please take the floor. Please reach out. Thank you.
CP conseguiu uma carne. Só essa chuva, não mas visualmente aí com
One friend was really excited about it. Let's get some people talking about it.
Mas great. Was great. I wouldn't support no one that night.
Udah umur sangat bumi umur sangat bongko na now. The church was powerful, man. The experience on its own. Wow. The church was great. Wasn't just loud, like the church was great. What an experience. I hope to come back here soon. It's also it's always a different experience every time, but I think it's